Can y'all hear the football game? Really doesn't matter. We'll talk more about bass fishing, and apparently we're gonna sit up under the cheetah blanket. Show everybody your cheetah blanket there, babe. I know that's what y'all came here for to see. Is the cheetah blanket? Is that cheetah? What is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go with cheetah. Great input. Way to go in depth there, babe. Cheers, y'all. Welcome back to a little different episode of Your Lake Fork Guide. We are watching the Bengals and the Ravens playoff game, NFL. We're going to talk some bass fishing stuff. Man, we've had some funky weather for this time of year. As you guys have probably noticed, it's pretty darn warm for this time of year. So we're going to be getting into how that's going to affect the fishing and kind of give you guys a little bit of a weekly report, I guess, a weekly preview of the weather and conditions and the way the fishing is going to be. And what I thought we would start doing is bring back the Thursday night live streams here on YouTube as well. Do Sunday and Thursday on YouTube, and on Sunday kind of talk to you guys about what I think is going to happen for the week. And then on Thursday we can talk about the best baits for the weekend and how our discussion on Sunday panned out, and basically talk about how it worked out throughout the week and what adjustments we made or what adjustments you guys might need to make to have success on the weekends. Because even though we're going to watch a little football, maybe make some football commentary here in a little while, at the core, this channel is all about helping you guys catch more and bigger fish like it always has been. Burrow's letting it rip right now, my man. You a big Joe Burrow fan?
Kind of. I mean, I haven't always been.
Great in-depth analysis, everybody. Appreciate it.
What do you want me to say?
I don't know. Something more than kind of. You know, this is a talking thing on podcast. We got to talk.
And I answered your question.
Oh, okay.
I literally said I haven't always been.
Before we go any further, we're going to do what we always do, say some hellos and how you doing. This might be the most awkward podcast we've ever done. I don't know. Ken Simpson, we just got a few joining us in the comments. You guys drop the comments as you get in here so we know who we're talking to. We got Ken Simpson, Ray Lowe, Bustin' Outdoors, and Billy Snow. Sometimes those comments get delayed because there's a lot more of you guys in here than that from what I can see on numbers, but the comments do get delayed sometimes. Here's some more popping in now. Braxton, Duhan, Kyle, some of them missed that, Courtney Irving. Thank you guys for joining us. Braxton's got a question already. We can start that. I have a question. What do you recommend to do on Toledo for next week in areas, shallower creeks? Man, I would think with the weather. Let me pull up the weather real quick as we get into this. Of course, this is the weather for up here. It'll be even warmer down there at Toledo. But if you look today, we were 70. The overnight low tonight, 62. Monday, 77. Overnight low, 54. Tuesday, a high of 80. Overnight low going on Wednesday, 61. So we've got what we were talking about last week. We've got that 3-day warming trend, guys, where the nighttime temps are never really going to get below the water temps. Man, that is going to really, really drive those fish shallow. The shallowest water on the lake is going to be the most productive water on the lake for the first half of this week especially. Now, it does cool off later in the week, but typically once those fish push shallow like they started doing last week with the warm weather, they don't back out, okay? They're not leaving that creek. Once they push into that creek back in those areas where it's warm, they may pull back out to a drain or something like that, but they're not going to leave that whole area and go back to the main lake or the middle of a big creek arm and set up on that main channel. In my experience, they just don't do that. Once they get shallow, they stay there. They get a little harder to catch, but they get a little more concentrated in those low spots within the shallow water. So for the next few days, man, it's get shallow, 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 as shallow as you can get. In fact, we might even get that black buzzbait bite thing we were talking about in January. That might happen this week. What do you think, Lainey?
On Toledo Bend?
Yeah. How many times have you been to Toledo Bend?
Never. But
I mean, you're pretty smart about fishing.
But if the water's dirty, you can throw, one of those like white shad colors.
Throw solid white in the dirty water?
Not solid white, but like a shad. Like you know what the color? What's that color called? With like the translucent white with like the gold or the silver.
Talking about my chatterbait, that's clear water shad.
Clear water shad.
So throw clear water shad in the dirty water.
That's what you're supposed to throw in dirty water.
Clear water shad?
I don't know the color. You're know
close.
What I'm talking about.
You actually do want to throw the pearl white. In my opinion, you want to throw the pearl white in dirty water. So that's the main thing I would concentrate on throwing. If the water is dirty, like she said, I would go to throwing a like pearl white chatterbait, white and chartreuse spinnerbait, And yeah, the red lipless crankbait down there at Toledo Bend, man. That's Rayburn's where the red lipless crankbait thing was born. Toledo Bend. It's the same way over there. That's worked since before my time down in that area. To have a hair,
No, I'm just pinching you.
just pinching me. Okay. Hey now, hey, no start none, won't be none. Anyways, got distracted for a second, but now the red lipless crankbait, the white chatterbait, and even a spinnerbait, man. That old spinnerbait with big blades on it can be a real key deal, like a pearl white or white and chartreuse on my spinnerbait. I like really big, hard, vibrating blades on my spinnerbaits in this time of year. What you want to look for, the key to defining an area is going to be the pockets and backs of creeks where you have a large amount of water that's, a foot deep. That's the water that's going to warm up the most right now. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, he almost got it in. Who's that? P-Ron? Burrow threw one to P-Ron, almost got it in. I think this is going to be not a great football game, so we're probably going to get to talk fishing a lot because the Bengals are probably going to whip. What do you think? The Ravens? You think so?
I don't really know any Ravens players other than Mark Andrews.
Now, the only reason you even know any is because you did a little fantasy football stuff with us this year, right?
Yes, and I placed third.
We had out of how many? We did a family football league with me and Miss Laney and the boys, and, just goofing off. But she's like a big football fan now, man. She watches all the football games, and if it's a player that's on her team or the team she's playing against, she kind of knows what's up with them. You probably actually know a lot more than most women about football now. Bengals are pushing. They're about to go in. Y'all let me know in the comments who's everybody pulling for in this game. I'm pulling for the Bengals. I like Burrow, man. I think he's a good player. I enjoy watching him, so I'm pulling for the Bengals tonight. Yeah, so Toledo Bend. Find that shallow water. Find the warmest water you can find. Get really, really shallow. I mean, that's the thing that people underestimate is how far back you need to push into these creeks and pockets. I think people that try this pattern don't have success. I think what happens is they don't get far enough back into those areas. Man, you got to get in the dirt. On this 3-day warmer stream, come Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, guys, you need to be kicking your trolling motor all the way up and still kicking up a little dirt at times. You got to get back there, really, really back there. Showing highlights from earlier now. All right, let's see if we got any other questions in here to get us going. You got a Bengals? Lowe's Creek on Toledo Bend. Man, Lowe's Creek gets dirty, I think, from what I can remember. I think Lowe's Creek is one of those ones that gets really, really muddy this time of year down there on Toledo. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes that dirtier water can warm up a little bit faster than the clear water. I'm a huge fan of that. The area that everybody's a fan of, right? The southwest corner of Toledo Bend. But a creek that's a little further up the lake that I really like is Patroon. There's, in the back of Patroon Creek and even in some like bay, Toledo's so big, Patroon Creek is the size of a lake. I mean, 6 miles bigger than Lake Fork. We realize that 6 Mile Creek arm is bigger than Lake Fork. So just little, what looks like tiny little coves off of the map on Toledo Bend can be a huge area. So in Patroon Creek, there's a couple of pockets that run back in there, pretty big size pockets you might call, but they're like creek arms in their own right. That are perfect for this. That warm up early, and they used to have grass. I don't know if they do anymore or not, but they used to have grass, and it would be a good area that I would try. But other than that, man, 6 Mile, I can't think of the name of the other one that's right above 6 Mile that's real popular. Everybody likes to fish. Oh, yeah, I'm having a brain fart on that. That hurricane deal out at the mouth of 6 Mile or whatever, that's a real popular one that everybody likes to fish. But everybody likes to fish it for a good reason. Eagles 20 John says, is it bad that I think of fishing a ton even when I can't go because they all iced over? I think of how I can catch them in these 40-degree days. No, ain't nothing wrong with that. It's exactly how I've always been. I still am. What's funny is I'll be like, tell me who else does this. Like when I'm driving down the road and I see like a little draw, or you see like that little drain running down through that cow pasture. It's got like a little hard edge on it. And some timber line up on the edge, and the whole pasture's open. I'm like, ooh, I bet they gather up in that drain. I envision it with water over it and think of how fish would set up on it. So I've always been that way. So no, there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with that. Are we gonna get Fork Lane maps? Our your Lake Fork Guy Pro Lane touchdown? Jamar Chase, touchdown Bengals. Yeah, this game's gonna get. I believe this game right here will be the one playoff game that gets kind of completely out of hand early. What was the one where somebody? Oh, the 49ers beat up on the Seahawks pretty bad, but it was competitive for a while. I think this one's gonna get out of hand by halftime. Will we ever get our Your Lake Fork Guy Pro Lake chips on Garmin? Unfortunately, no, man. We cannot figure out the conversion to Garmin, and it just does some weird. Whenever we convert it to the file type for Garmin graphs, it throws lanes play like it connects one lane to another and has a lane going across the land or a lane going across the middle of the lake where there's timber everywhere. And so obviously we can't sell that. So no, we cannot get the Garmin deal figured out. And right now there's not a solution on the horizon. So as of now, I have no expectation to get Garmin. But we do have Hummingbird and Lawrence. Sorry for you Garmin guys. Housing Creek's the one right above 6 Mile. I couldn't believe I couldn't remember that. Man, I've fished there a million times. They wouldn't let y'all in Martin Creek. It was completely full, no parking. Woo! I guess they must have had a big tournament or something. The bug, the fishing dog is here. Skeeter Bug wanted to. Hey, Skeeter wanted to
She's
talk some
stuck
fishing.
all the way on the couch.
She wanted to talk some fishing with you guys. That's all. Skeeter, tell them how to catch them on Toledo. She says, "Well, here's what you do. You lick them. You lick them real good, guys."
Okay, you go lay down. Go lay down.
Go on now, Skeeter.
Come here, Brady. Come here.
What's up from Ohio? There we go. Wish I was in your neck of the wood, man. We wish you was here too, brother. Life is good down here in the great state, as they say. What creek do you recommend out of Cypress Bend? Well, you know, the run from Cypress Bend down to Housing in 6 Mile is not very long. One that's even closer, you just got to kind of cross the lake and go a little south, is Indian Mounds. Indian Mounds has what looks like on the map to be a bunch of little pockets, but they're like full-on creeks. But out at the mouth of Indian Mounds, they've got a little shallow humps and points and flats with drop-offs, and there's usually grass out there. And Indian Mounds is an area that Zach Watts introduced me 2 years ago, and I'm a big fan of Indian Mounds. Another area north of the bridge is that 1215 area is really good if you know where that is. I can't remember the name. I'm bad with names of creeks. But when you come out of Cypress Bend and head south on the lake, right around the corner to the left, it's like the first big creek arm you come to, I'm pretty sure. It goes back there and it Y's off. That's a good creek. It's got a lot of houses. It looks a little more like Fork with the housing development and stuff like that than some of the areas I fish on Toledo that aren't developed. But man, I've caught some good fish back in that creek too, and I can't think of the name of it. Maybe old JC from 6 Mile Outdoors. He might help me out here in a minute. He knows that lake real well. I've never fished Nakanish. Nakanish is one I've never fished. How are you determining if you're going to fish Fork versus Power Plant Lake right now? Well, the question is, do you want to just go for a relaxing day and catch a lot of fish? Then it's Power Plant Lake. I mean, those fish are still in a spring mode. You've got post-spawn fish. You got fish still spawning. So you basically on those Power Plant Lakes right now, it's late April, early May is kind of the time of year that I would equate it to for the rest of our lakes in this area. Some spawning left, some post-spawn going on. That's kind of where we are on the Power Plant Lakes. Man, that's a lot of fun. You can catch up. I mean, that's like the biggest numbers time of year is May, early May, late April, early May. That's one of our biggest numbers time of the year. So you can get that going on the Power Plant Lakes. But if you want to go try to catch a giant, there's no better time than right now on Lake Fork. Or if you want to go fish really for one and go run around the carousel of boats out there with your live scope, go to OHI and do the same thing. But as far as deciding between Lake Fork and Power Plant Lake, it's about what do you want. You want to try to catch a giant, then Lake Fork's your place. You want to go catch a bunch of fish and just have a relaxing good day of fishing and pretend it's spring while it's not, go to these Power Plant Lakes and that's what you get. So that's how that decision's made. And that's the exact conversation I have with guide customers too. What baits are you going to use just after ice comes off? Well, see, this is a question I don't really know how to answer because our lakes don't ice, bro. Like, we don't have, I don't have a clue what to throw after the ice comes off. I mean, I guess a jerkbait. A jerkbait would probably be good, I'm sure, because a jerkbait's always good in cold water. But no, I really don't know how to answer that. It's not a situation I ever find myself in. I try my best to stay away from frozen lakes. You ever throw a KBD jerkbait? It has different action than the mega bass. Yeah, I've got a few KBD jerkbaits. I've thrown them some. They're fine. They're okay. I do like the mega bass better. In my opinion, they're better. KBD jerkbait to me is kind of similar to an Rogue in the action that it has. The ghost just opened our door over there. Our door doesn't, unless you really seal it all the way. It doesn't. It'll kind of just ease open on you. So we're just sitting here. Our door just goes creak. It just opens up a little bit. It's kind of spooky, huh?
I think we're used to it.
We
The
are
dogs
used to
are
it.
used to it.
The dogs are used to it. They don't even bark at it. But yeah, we have a ghost in our house. Let me move this knee a little bit. He's a nice ghost. He doesn't really mess with us much. How was the expo yesterday? I didn't get to go yesterday. Yesterday we were chasing them little ones around a basketball court for half the day. So we were back here in Van, Texas, out here in God's country, as we call it, doing that thing with the boys yesterday. So we just went on Friday. Friday, the show was fun. It was great. The pros were great. The people that we saw were great. Saw some old faces I hadn't seen in a while. Met some new ones like we always do at that thing. But, man, pretty light crowd on Friday. Friday I was kind of a little, not disappointed, I guess, but I was disappointed in how light the crowd was. I thought it was going to be more people. It certainly used to be a lot more people there. And I think from what I heard, there was a lot more people there on Saturday, so we may have just missed the big rush. Russell Stroman says he got Heath's last slow guide. There you go. That's good. On Friday, so they were all gone on the first day. That's awesome. Switch things up. What do I think about old Tyler? Lake Tyler. It's okay. The population in there is pretty good. Brushpaw Lake, I think most of the tournaments out there seem to get won by a local that knows the brush piles and puts out some fresh brush piles and things like that. But I don't have a lot of experience on Tyler, but it seems like an all right lake. When I have gone, like we've caught fish, it's a pretty fair lake. It's the problem with Tyler is not that Tyler's so bad, it's where it's located and the lakes around it make it seem like it sucks. Like you'll hear people say Tyler sucks. Tyler doesn't really suck. It's just that Lake Palestine can be absolutely phenomenal. Lake Fork is maybe the most legendary lake ever, probably the greatest trophy bass lake of all time. Lake of the Pines is insanely good. Every lake around Lake Tyler, and even the small lakes around Lake Tyler are so phenomenal that it's just not as good as those. So everybody around here is like, man, Lake Tyler sucks. Well, yeah, not really. Like, go fish around the Houston area and then tell me Lake Tyler. So if you fished around the Houston area and you drove up to Tyler and your buddy took you to Tyler, you'd be like, bro, this lake's awesome. Like, for real. You would love it. So it's all a matter of perspective. How did our kids do on Saturday? We won. We're 2-0 in basketball right now. We had a game last Saturday and we had a game yesterday. And so far we're 2-0. So what do you think? How did our kids do yesterday?
Good. What was the score of the first game? It was like 9-2.
Yeah. I think it was 11-5 at the end. It ended up 11-5.
And then yesterday it was 19-13. So
19-13. Yeah, and we had them down like 19-9 or 19-7, and then we kind of pulled some of the kids out and let off the gas a little bit on them because we were starting to kind of make it not very competitive, so we kind of eased up at that point. But just trying to be a good sport about it. But it was. Now the kids are doing good. We don't score very many points, but our kids on our basketball team are very naturally competitive, which I love. They're pretty fast. We got a lot of speed, and the defense on our team ain't no joke. I will tell you, like, there ain't gonna be too many teams break 10 points on us because our kids are just very competitive and intense, and they defend like crazy. So I'm proud of them. We got some things to work on for sure, but I'm proud of them. And I don't know much about basketball, so it's all on them. I ain't doing nothing for them other than just trying to encourage them to hustle and try hard, you know. Somebody said, I saw Negrete Creek popped up earlier. Yeah, Negrete. No, I think Negrete's the one I was talking about where I caught some fish in the back where it splits. Have I been to the G word lately? Yeah. Before the warming trend, I went and it was not very good to me. But I got to think after this warming trend, it's probably doing pretty good. Bass Fish Mafia says, bringing my son down for spring break. Got a trip booked with you. What small lakes should we be looking at in case we get some bad weather, wind or something like that? Well, here's the deal. Some of those small lakes, I can't say the name of because if I say the name of a small lake on this YouTube channel, that small lake ain't going to be no good by the time you guys get here. So that's going to be a conversation we have to have in private in that situation that week. You know what I mean? If you know, you know. Gary Fraber said, found ya. Have I missed anything in the game, babe? The Bengals missed the extra point? Huh. I didn't see that either. Have you ever fished Amistad? I heard it was coming back. How true is that? That is. I've heard it's coming back as well. I've never been to Amistad. I've been to Falcon. I've been to Ivy. Uh, I've been to Choke a long, long, long time ago. I've fished a few of those lakes down south, but Amistad I've never been to. And that's out by Del Rio. Yeah, no, I have heard that it's kind of made a little comeback and it's fishing better right now. So that's good. Amistad, man, in its day, it was as good as anywhere. So, we always need more lakes producing good in Texas. That's always good. If nothing else, it helps spread the pressure out a little bit. And that's always good, especially as our sport continues to grow. With COVID, so many people started fishing regular, more consistently with COVID. And with high school bass fishing, we get so many young guys getting into the sport for the first time, and new guys that are taking it up and fishing all the time like we are. So our sport's definitely growing as far as the numbers of anglers, and not just that, but we're all better anglers. And I know there's going to be some old heads that'll argue with me on this, especially like a Randy Blockett would sit there and have this argument with me. You say whatever you want to. Guys, the average guy is better at catching fish today, catches more fish today than the average guy did years ago. And the only reason the average guy years ago might have caught more is because those fish were less pressure. Like if you look at how efficient and effective we're targeting these bass and putting baits in their face now with the modern electronics, with modern mapping, with the newer baits that are better baits, they get them to react better so you get more fish that'll bite it. All those things, man, these fish are being targeted and fished for at a much more effective rate than they were 30 years ago. So spreading the pressure out, having more lakes producing is definitely a good thing. I do think that fish are getting harder and harder to catch because of, I don't even know that there's that many more people fishing. I think there is more people fishing, but I don't even think that's really the culprit. I think the culprit is that everybody knows where every really good main lake point, creek swing, hump, roadbed, bridge, we all know where they're at now because of the mapping that we have. We can all see whether there's fish on there or not between downscan, side scan, sonar, live sonar. Like, pretty much everybody can tell whether there's fish or not on that structure before they fish it. So we're not wasting time fishing. Well, this is a great point, so that I know about that granddaddy told me about or whatever. So I'm going to go fish it. And then you go there and fish, you don't catch nothing. Well, there wasn't nothing there. Now you go to that great point, you grab it, there's nothing there. You move on to the next one. Like, there's no doubt that a higher percentage of our angling time is being spent presenting baits to fish than it used to be. And so I think we're all just better as anglers when it comes to that. Not that our individual skill level is better or, we can hear the whisper in the woods or whatever these old heads talk about. But we're definitely presenting baits more effectively. And Randy Blockett can argue, and those kind of, I'm using Randy Blockett, and There's a whole bunch of them. There's a whole bunch of Randy Blockett's out there. So I don't have an issue with Randy Blockett. He goes on his channel and talks about things, and I agree with some of the things he says, and I disagree with a lot of the things he says. But just because I disagree with him doesn't mean I don't like him or have an issue with him. I got no problem with Randy Blockett whatsoever doing his thing. I'm just using Randy Blockett as a name to put on that group because he's kind of put himself out there. He's that guy that thinks electronics are bad for fishing and that it's not as true of a test of being a fisherman if you have all those electronics. The real test was back in the day, blah, blah, blah. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. And anybody that wants to have that discussion with me, come look at Lake Fork and drive down it and see what guys are fishing. See the structure they're fishing. See how they're set up on it. See the baits they're presenting to these fish. We're doing it a lot better as a whole than we used to, like light years better. Uh-oh. We lost our signal in the game for a second. The Ravens are trying to keep it a game. I guess the Ravens heard me say it was going to be run away by halftime, so they're trying to make it a one-score game here. Cheers, y'all. Have you been watching any football? What's happening?
You can see right there what's happening.
How'd they get there?
They move up the field, baby. Do I gotta explain?
They
gotta explain how football works.
They matriculated the ball down the field, folks. Great in-depth analysis there. Yeah, that's not going to work, Han. That's not going to work. How many of you guys are actually watching the game with us right now? Have the PowerPoint Lake started their spawn? Yeah, they started back like early December. Yeah, late November, early December, they were spawning on PowerPoint Lakes, buddy. Woo! Touchdown. Touchdown, J.K. Dobbins. God, that dude's an athletic freak. What game am I watching? I'm watching the NFL play, the only NFL playoff game that's on. That's what game I'm watching. That's funny.
Oh. No, it's not. No.
That's a touchdown.
No.
That's a touchdown. You don't think that's a touchdown?
No.
Okay, so hopefully y'all watching the game. J.K. Dobbins stretched out now. If his knee or below his knee, if it's like his shin, his knee, his thigh, if any of that hits the ground, or his elbow, forearm, but if his hand is on the ground, that's fine. That's fine. The hand's fine. Dude, that ball, and all that ball has.
I don't think white is.
And right there, it's in. But right there, it's in. Just one little piece of the ball across the edge of the line, it's in. Oh, yeah, he was crying. Yeah, that's in. Inches. Game of inches.
It might be their only touchdown. We'll give it to him.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, what's that? Well, you know, you probably don't know this. For those of you that have seen Any Given Sunday, this is a game of inches. You got to fight for every inch. My man J.K. Dobbins just got a touchdown by about 1.5 of them. Oh, somebody got some Cowboy hate?
I think everyone has a little Cowboy hate.
No, we can't handle Cowboys hate. I'm a very realistic Cowboys fan. I've been a Cowboys fan since I was a kid. I was a kid that grew up in the Houston area, north of Houston, and the Oilers left town kind of when I was too young to almost really be paying that much attention to it. And then as I was growing up, after the Oilers left, the Cowboys won 3 Super Bowls. So pretty easy to become a Cowboys fan at that time. They were the only team in Texas, and they were winning. And so I became a big Cowboys fan as a kid. And boy, did they spoil me when I was a kid, because it's been pretty bad since then. But, I'm a realistic Cowboys fan. And I will tell you right now, and we can have this argument all night, but Dak Prescott, I've said it from his first year when Romo got hurt and he came in, he's a really good backup. That's what he is. He's not the guy. And the Cowboys right now have what I think is the best team they've had since the 90s. minus the quarterback. Like, the quarterback play is not very good. It's good at times, it's bad at others, it's inconsistent. And the problem is the Cowboys play calling, they signed him to this big contract. Now they want him to be the man. So when Dak's healthy, what do? They try to throw it all over the field. They try to let Dak be the man. That team needs to be a run the ball, play defense first, throw it when you have to, give Dak shorter passes with less reads to make, and he'll be great at that because that's what backup quarterbacks are great at. When they brought the backup quarterback in, what do? They won every game except for one. Like, they were really good with that backup quarterback in because the play calling changed to make it easier on that guy. Dak needs the play calling to be easier on him. He's just not – he's not going to carry the load, man. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Joe Burrow. He's not Tom Brady. He's not any of these guys that can carry the load. That's just the bottom line with that.
Cody's comment.
Who just walked behind us? The ghost that opened our door probably walked behind us. We have a ghost that lives in our house, y'all. Cowboys need Joe Burrow. Yeah, if you put Joe Burrow on the Dallas Cowboys,
Cowboys can use anyone else other than Dak Prescott.
I don't know if I go that far. I don't know about all that. But Joe Burrow for sure. Yeah. Let's list the quarterbacks that would make the Cowboys better. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow,
Josh Allen,
even old ass Tom Brady, Josh Allen for sure.
Tua
would. I don't know.
Come on now.
I don't think so. I think Tua's another one that's in a really good situation. I don't think he's that great. He would be pretty good, and he would play the game manager role pretty well. He could do what Dak could do. They're about the same to me.
You like Trevor Lawrence quite a bit.
Trevor Lawrence, whoa, yes. Trevor Lawrence would definitely make the Cowboys for real. Justin Herbert, the guy that just played Trevor Lawrence last night. There's some others, too. I think the Cowboys might be better with Jalen Hurts. I think the Cowboys might even be better with Geno Smith playing quarterback than they are with Dak. Geno Smith is a better quarterback than Dak. Just saying. There's the hot take. This is a sports talk show now.
I can do that. I can't do fishing. I can do sports talk.
They need to get Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Man, listen, Aaron Rodgers is obviously one of the greatest to ever do it. Out of everybody, man, there seems to be a lot of ego going on there with Aaron. And maybe it's not. It's impossible to say what happens in the locker room when you're not in it, right? Man, he just seems like he can cause some problems for a team from the outside looking in. He's probably a great guy. I'm probably completely wrong on that. But saying all that about Dak, we will most definitely be pulling for the Cowboys tomorrow night in this house. I will. She might not. She just loves some Tom Brady.
I don't anymore. Not this season. This season, he has been such a letdown. I think he has let his personal life get the best of him.
You think his personal life? I'll tell you what's
getting. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And he doesn't. Okay, no. I know what you're gonna say.
Go ahead.
He doesn't. His O-line isn't helping him. He's been good all these years because he's had a great O-line to help him. But this year he doesn't. I only like Tom Brady when he's matched up with Robert Gronkowski.
Yeah, you really like the Gronk.
I'm a big Gronk fan.
You're a huge Gronk fan.
Yes. So this year, I'm not a Tampa Bay fan.
Well, I hate to break your heart, but he could get Gronk back in his prime this year and it wouldn't do him any good.
Not with this team. Not with this team.
That's the thing I love about football is you can have the greatest players on earth. It's a situation that they're in, man. Like, it's the most team game of all the games out there. It's the most team-oriented game. I absolutely love the game of football. Almost as much as I love fishing. Maybe the same
about Jimmy Garoppolo.
He's like Dak. He's basically the same thing.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's basically
I think he's great.
You think he's... There's something you need to tell me about you and Jimmy G? He's a heartthrob. I mean, do I need to be worried about old Jimmy G? Don't you be taking up bass fishing, boy. Don't show up around these parts. It'd be fighting words.
Now, if I see him bass fishing, I might hop out of your boat.
Well, this is the important time for me to let one of my favorite sayings fly. Okay. You need to figure out what's going on there and you can get right or you can get left.
Oh
It's
my
your choice.
gosh.
It's your choice.
You said that all day yesterday.
Andy Alphabet says Aaron Rodgers is coming to the Cowboys to reunite with Mike McCarthy before retiring. Hot take. I'm not real sure he liked Mike McCarthy that much. It seemed like at the end there was, I think Aaron Rodgers might be the reason he left Green Bay at the end. I don't think they got along very well at all. Oh, your little buddy Burrow just got banged around.
He's your little buddy before he's mine. He has some purple lips.
Anybody that can look like Nicolas Cage from Con Air is a good dude. Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers. He does. He looks like Nicolas Cage in Con Air. I never even thought about that. He's getting all scraggly as he gets older.
We got a lot of Green Bay fans in here tonight, don't we?
Seems like it. Seems like it.
What's going on?
What happened? You get fumble. It's fumble. Yeah, somebody said one up and comer to watch is 49ers Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy looks the part, man. Like, I've watched a lot of football. He looks the part. The Ravens have got a fumble. All right. So we got a little division rival playoff game going now. It's 9-7, and the Ravens just got a fumble recovery.
Yeah, they sure did.
It's game on now, baby. It's game on now. It's these division. How many division opponents were there in the first round of the playoffs? I thought that was kind of odd. You had the Niners and the Seahawks, the Bills and the Dolphins, the Bengals and the Ravens. Who else played yesterday?
I wasn't even listening to what you said.
Who played yesterday? Who played last night? You remember?
Seattle and 49ers?
No, that was that day game. Who played after them last night? You remember? Oh, Jacksonville Chargers. That was not. So there's been 3 divisional games. Out of the 6 games, 3
that
of
was
them,
a late game.
half of them were divisional matchups. And there's something about teams when they play each other for the 3rd time of the year, and they're so familiar with each other, playing each other year in, year out, every year. Mate, those games don't always, they quite often go differently than you expect them to go. Like, you would expect the Bengals to handle up on the Ravens based on how the 2 teams played all year. But, man, you just never know in these division rivalry games.
Yeah, it seems like I missed a pretty good game last night.
I was like the Dolphins and the Bills. I mean, the Dolphins are on their 3rd-string quarterback. They literally had a practice squad tackle playing today and 2 or 3 other offensive linemen out. They're missing 3 or 4 of their starting offensive linemen are all gone. They're on their 3rd-string quarterback. They're playing in Buffalo. The Bills are the Bills. They're one of the best teams over the last few years. And it's a 3-point game. Like, you just, like, nobody would have thought that was the way it was going to go. But in my defense, babe, what did I say in the beginning of that game? Because they had like a 10-point or 11-point spread or whatever it was. They were double-digit underdogs, and the Bills went up 14-0. What did I say? You don't remember?
You said that about loosening up their defense.
No, that was the Jags last night. No, what I said was that I need to go log on to some online betting service and place a bet on Miami to cover the spread. Because even though it was 14-0 and they were a 10-point dog, I was like, Miami's going to cover the spread. There's no doubt. Where did you find this?
Cody just sent it.
This is amazing. Look at this. It's Aaron Rodgers and Nicolas Cage from Con Air.
That's the first day of practice.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
Cody Mays just sent that.
Way to go, Mays.
That's funny.
Speaking of, y'all need to go follow Cody Mays on FaceSpace. Go follow Cody Mays or Duh Lake Fork Guide on Facebook. My man's gonna have a big announcement coming up here pretty soon. So go follow him. He's a great fishing guide. As we get into spring, you're gonna want to follow along what he's doing anyway. I think he's gonna start offering up some of the same type of
How do I do this?
information and tips that I do. You probably can't with them big old fingernails.
I just want to see what he was saying about the Dolphins.
He said they showed up today. But yeah, follow Cody Mays on Facebook. There's going to be a big announcement coming from him here pretty soon, and he's going to be doing some similar content to what we do as far as giving you guys tips and advice. And he goes about it in, has a different style than me altogether fishing. So you guys will be able to get great value and a different perspective on how to fish Lake Fork and these East Texas lakes from a dude that gets to do it a whole bunch just like I do. So y'all need to go follow my man. What is Cody's client's biggest fish? I don't know the answer to that. I do know he's only been guiding for a short time and been working another job while he's been guiding so far. So he hasn't had near as many opportunities as I have, but I don't know what his customer's biggest fish is. I know he's netted a 11-pounder for me when he was in my boat. When we were fishing together one time out there, he netted an 11-pounder for me. Does that count? How many glides did I buy from Heath this weekend? I didn't buy any from him this weekend because I bought them all 2 months ago before any of you guys saw them. I just go over to his house and get what I want. That's the advantage of knowing a man like that. Vic's 11-pounder. Yeah, Vic caught an 11-pounder with him. That's right. Mays will put you on him. And I'm going to tell you guys, there's, it's great when you go out and catch a bunch of fish on a guide trip. I mean, those days are awesome. People never forget those. Some of them I never forget. But if you're purchasing a guide trip and the value you take out of that trip is the fish you caught that day, you're selling yourself short, not getting your money's worth. Because the value is, number one, having a great time on the water, but number two is, the things that you learn. So hiring a guide, and not all guides do this, but hiring a guide that's going to answer any question you ask. Be open book for you. You can learn things from it. If there's something that you're curious about or want to learn how to do better or want to learn this technique or whatever it is, having a guide that's going to be open with you and share all of his knowledge, the value you get from a guide trip is not the fish you catch that day, but it's the fish you catch for the rest of your life based on things you learned that day. That's the real value of a guide trip, okay? So Cody's great at that. He has a great personality. He's a great people person, and he's one of those guys that just doesn't have any enemies, man. Everybody loves him. Everybody gets in the boat with Cody absolutely loves him. He said he's had several clients catch him over 10, and that's his biggest so far is 10-pounders. He hasn't gone over that. That's what Cody May said about his biggest customers' fish. I'm not real sure what Christopher Curtis here is trying to say. How come, I'm going to read it just like you typed it, bud. How come you were on a last night preview too busy watching football, and this one you're talking about fishing? I'm not really sure what he's talking about. But we're kind of doing a little bit of both tonight. Will the sight fishing still be good on Fork if the lake stays low this spring? That's a good question. This last spring, the sight fishing was tough on Fork overall. It really was. The lake was kind of dirty. The areas where the fish where it was clear enough to really see the fish were just getting pounded by boats. I mean, if you weren't in there the day they pulled up, you were too late. I mean, there's so many boats on them, they got real hard to catch. And so the sight fishing overall was tough on Lake Fork last year. But way back, 10 years ago when we were in drought for 3 years in a row, we had some low water sight fishing years that were, amazing. It's just going to depend on water clarity more than anything, I think. If the majority of the lake has clear enough water to see them in, great play right there. Great play right there. My goodness, he's still going. Great play right there. If the majority of the lake has water that's clear enough to see them, and then sight fishing can be very, very good when it's low. Very, very good. Are the Nutra rats still in high numbers? No, the gators have knocked down the Nutra rat population. I mean, they're pretty much gone. I can't even tell you last time I saw one on Fork, and I'll probably see one tomorrow. But the Nutra rats have all but left the lake because of the gators. The gator population has grown immensely on Fork the last 5 to 10 years, and they've killed the Nutra rats. Andy Alphabet says, he seen me on Friday at Fun and Sun. but didn't stop. I was in a group talking. It's good to see you. Hey, man, I wish you would have stopped me, brother. I would have loved to shake your hand. But I appreciate it anyway, though. Bruce McCallum said the best video he's watched of me was the little boy catching the 12-pounder. That was a special day. That's still my favorite guide memory to this day. What's funny is that little boy is now a grown man. Like I think he's about to be I think he's a junior in high school right now, maybe. But yeah, he's gotten in the weight room. He's playing baseball, big time baseball, and the kid's yoked up pretty good, and you wouldn't even recognize him if he got back in my boat right now. You wouldn't even recognize him, man. You wouldn't even recognize him. That was an awesome day though. I had a 13-year-old boy catch 12-pounder. Just a couple ounces from the junior state record. I didn't even realize at that time that day in the boat, and we just waited and let it go because it was spawning season. But man, that was awesome. Caught it on that big swim bait. If you hadn't seen that one, look that one up. It was a special one. I think the dad was more excited than the kid was. The kid was more in shock than anything. The true Cowboys fans want them to lose first round so they can get Sean Payton. That'd be something there. Here's Timmy Rhodes. Timmy Rhodes. This is. I didn't have to read the name when I started reading the question. This is a Timmy Rhodes question. Will pink 3/4 ounce beetle spins with a light hitch convex swimsuit trailer catch them on the bed? Spinning reel or cane pole? If cane pole, the green ones or the brown ones? Yeah, that's a good Timmy Rhodes question. That's the guy I used to fish tournaments with, y'all. Tim Rhodes, everybody. Need a better knot for jig fishing. My trailing knot has been slipping. What knot do you use on 20-pound fluoro? I use a knot called a Homer's circle knot on fluorocarbon. And basically, you run the line through the eye of the hook, through the eye of the jig. You tie a loose overhand knot around the main line and hold it open. You wrap up 3, down 3, and you put your tag in back through that open overhand knot. So now you got your main line and your tag running through that overhand knot with the wraps above and up and down, and then you cinch all that down. And that's the strongest single wrap fluorocarbon knot I've ever found. And it never slips. Ever, ever. Are the lily pads still around in Fort? Nah, some will come back this spring, I'm sure, but not really. When they dropped the water all of a sudden in a hurry manually last year to work on the dam and dropped it down to 6 foot low, and that eliminated most of the vegetation in the lake, pretty much all of it. So, a little bit came back here or there, shoreline vegetation, but not much, and it's kind of gone up and down throughout the year, so we really don't have any grass. What I will say is this. We're most likely going to jump. I don't think we're going to gain, like right now we're 5 foot low, give or take. We're not going to get back to full pull this spring unless something out of the ordinary happens with the rain. But what we probably will do is jump up another 2 to 3 foot throughout the spring. When that happens, we will have water in flooded bushes. Like lake's been down at 6 foot all this last year. It's kind of come back up to 5 foot. We've got shoreline growth that is immense and thick across the vast majority of the lake on the old lake bed. So when we jump 2 or 3 more foot this spring, which we should do, that's going to flood. And that's going to create, especially when it first happens, is going to create fantastic habitat and cover to fish in until all that stuff starts dying back. And then when that stuff starts dying back, it'll get where that stuff's not really good anymore for a little while. Baltimore about to take the lead in the halftime. You sure right. They sure are. I missed what was happening. Is it 2-minute warning before half? Were you paying attention, babe? Well, now we're all sitting here watching a commercial on a football game, not talking about anything. What do you think, Miss Laney? You got anything you want to tell the people out there?
We both are upset that the Fins are out.
What? We're both upset the Dolphins are out of the playoffs?
Because we are both big Dolphin fans.
We are.
Yeah.
Oh, look, so a guy that went to her high school, Jeff Wilson, went to the same high school as Miss Lane. He plays for the Dolphins, so that's why she's a big Dolphins fan. Which I like Jeff. He's a good player. He's an easy guy to root for. Good guy. But
He has a great family.
I'm not a huge Dolphins fan. They're fun. I like watching them. I think their coach is a really good offensive mind. Timmy Rhodes says someone got a new boat yesterday. Timmy, what did you get? I know you've been running the old Danger Ranger. What did you get? "23 seconds. Let's see what the Ravens do going into halftime here. What we got? We got first and goal from the 3.
Definitely not.
What do you think is going to happen?
Me?
Yeah, what's about to happen here?
I don't think they're going to get it.
A roll out throwback screen. Andrews. They shut it down. They got it
I
covered.
told you.
They got it covered.
I told.
All right. Well, now it's second and goal from the 4. What's going to happen on that
Not
play?
going to happen either.
What play are they going to run?
Jet wire run.
Jet Y run. That is literally a flag play. That's a jet sweep, folks. He's calling for the jet sweep pop pass that we ran in flag football with our 9-year-olds.
I only know flag plays.
She only knows my flag playbook. That's all she's got. We got a little jet sweep.
Listen,
Pop
I know
pass.
players, not plays.
Man, Kansas City runs that play really, really well. That's kind of where I got the idea from, was Kansas City.
Then why'd you say it was a flag play?
Hey, that sucker works good in flag football, I'll tell you that. And then we do a reverse all of that. We got the jet Y reverse too. Woo! Get them all. They don't know which direction our guys are going, and then somebody's around the edge.
Ain't gonna happen.
You think they're running jet sweep
I don't know
here?
what they're gonna run, but it ain't happening.
They're gonna throw the ball.
I was about to say they're
They're doing that
pass.
same thing, rollout option. That's all they're doing. They're giving Huntley the option to run a throw.
I think I should be.
But the Bengals are covering it up, man. The Bengals are they're reading it so early because they've done it so many times. They did it last time.
We're not gonna let them score.
The Bengals are gonna stop them.
Yeah.
All right, so you're saying field goal here for the Ravens is what you're saying.
Man, did you see that pink face?
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why it's showing up that color on TV. That dude's face was pink. Maybe he's just that out of breath. That's just a bad
That
throw.
was a bad throw.
He actually had the guy there. That's just a bad throw. Really bad throw.
Very bad.
All right, are they going to try that same rollout thing they've been doing again?
I think so.
False start. False start. Oh, no. It's third and goal from the 9 now. What an idiot. God. Spencer Smith says, what happened to the young guy you were helping a couple years ago? I think he was also a guide on Broken Bow. Yeah, he's back at Broken Bow. He was a young guy, and he moved here from Broken Bow. He'd been guiding on Broken Bow. Then he moved here. And, man, nothing bad happened. He just wanted to go back home. You know, that was his first time living away from home. And, man, he loves where he's from, and he loves his home area, and he loves Broken Bow Lake and those woods. He's a big hunter. And so he wanted to go back to the house. So He's up there on Broken Bow. Jonathan Bowling's his name. If you go to Broken Bow, I highly recommend him. He's a very talented young fisherman and a good guy, good young man. But he's just young, man. Moved away from home for the first time, and he wanted to go back home. So, and he's already married. You know, him and his wife are both from there. They grew up together and all that. So that's where they wanted to be. That's where he's at.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Bad. Oh.
Oh, good grief. This is painful watching this Ravens offense right now. Like, I got an idea. How about we line a guy up out wide and run a slant package off that out route and then try to hit him on a different angle? Like, slant route's like the easiest thing in the world to score a touchdown on from a few yards out. Like, why don't they run it more? And like good teams do. It's like the easiest thing in the world to get open on. It's the easiest thing for a quarterback to hit. The only thing that's hard about it is the receiver's got to catch the ball in traffic. Well, this is going to go in because this is Justin Tucker, and he's like a machine. Babe, did you know that they took some Justin Tucker field goals and like measured them? And if the field goal posts were like a foot wide, he was like making field goals. I think that's how accurate he was. He's crazy. It was something like that. I don't remember the exact thing. Rob said he's been waiting on us over there. So I announced on Facebook that we're doing this live stream on YouTube tonight, and Rob was waiting on us on Facebook. He didn't realize we were doing the live stream on YouTube.
Oh, you should have said that.
Sorry about that, Rob. I did say it. I did say it was on YouTube. Somebody's asking about tequila sunrise. Man, that's an old school color right there, but it still works. You can catch them on fork on that color to this day at tequila sunrise. Yeah, it's a good color. Old Zoom worm and lizard color right there. Just tuning in. Glad to have you join us, my brother. Who's that? Jay Zimmy, 724, just joining us. Man, we've been talking a lot of fishing tonight throughout this deal. If you guys got any more fishing questions, let me know. And I'll be happy to answer them. By the way, cheers, y'all. Anything else you want to cover before we'll probably wrap this thing up right here at halftime, guys. So before we go, Princess, first of all, is there anything y'all want to ask the Princess? We can do the ask her anything thing that we used to do. That's no problem. We can do that right now. But Princess, is there anything you want to add or discuss with anybody?
Nope.
Nope. Good talk. No bait companies you want to work with? You like being a free agent? I do like being a free agent. I will tell you this, and I've made this determination. I would be open to a conversation. I'm not going to go ask anybody or pursue anything, but if a bait company approached me and want to work with me, I would listen. Obviously, I would listen to what they had to say out of just respect for them alone. But I would consider it for the right company that had the right lineup of baits that I believed in, that I like to use, and all that kind of stuff. But I will never, ever again sign anything that has the word exclusive anywhere in it. If there's any type of exclusivity clause of any kind, only our baits, you can't fish any competitive baits on camera. You can't publish anything about competitive baits, stuff like that. That was in my last contract with a company that we can't speak of, no sense. Anyway, frustrated. I will never have another contract that has any exclusivity obligations to it. I will fish that company's baits that I believe in, and I'll promote the heck out of the ones I believe in, and I'll move a lot of those baits for them, just like I moved baits for other companies in the past. But I never again will have a contract that has any type of obligation for me to not fish competitive baits or feature competitive baits on content, because that restricts what I can share with you guys and what I can tell you guys about what's working. It really does. There's times where I can't talk about this great bait that's working really good right now because I can't talk about it because it's competitive to a company I was working with back in the day. So we're not going to do that anymore. Is there hunting on Lake Fork? Yeah, you duck hunters out there all the time. Who am I predicting to win the Super Bowl? I think the Chiefs got it, man. I think it's the Chiefs to lose. I mean, anything can happen in football, of course, but I think it's going to be the Chiefs and the 49ers. I've been saying that. How long, babe? Long time, huh? Since early in the season, I've been saying about halfway through the season, probably I was like, man, this is going to be a Chiefs and 49ers Super Bowl, and I think that's right. I think the Eagles are pretty good. I think they got some issues on defense at times. And the reality is, as great as Jalen Hurts has been, he's inconsistent at playing quarterback. He's a great runner of the football, no doubt about it. But sometimes he's a little reluctant to run the football. So if you're going to be running quarterback and you're reluctant to run the football, you'd rather pass, you better be a really good passer. And he's just a little bit inconsistent at throwing the ball at times. At times he's great He's capable of being a great thrower. But it's just too many inconsistencies with him at the quarterback position. Too many inconsistencies in moments with their defense. Their defense is funny because it's like really, really great at times and dominant, and then sometimes it's like you can just gash them. So just too much inconsistency on the Eagles for them to hold up throughout the entire thing. So I give the NFC to the Niners. I think the Cowboys are going to beat Tampa Bay tomorrow. Then I think they lose to who would they end up playing? They would end up playing Philadelphia.
I was about to say.
They would end up playing
Whoever
Philadelphia.
wins is going to play the Eagles.
Well, who's through the NFC so far? No, the Giants are going to play Philly. So the Cowboys are going to play the Niners. I don't think Cowboys would beat the Niners or the Eagles, either one in a playoff game on the road. So the Cowboys are going to beat Tampa Bay. They're going to lose to the Niners. The Giants are going to lose to Philadelphia. And then I think that the Giants actually might give Philadelphia a hard time, actually. I'm not too sure about that one yet. But whoever ends up going through in the conference championship, the 49ers are going to win the NFC. In the AFC, Kansas City handles the Jaguars next week. I think the Bengals are going to pull this game out tonight. I think they will. And that will put them against the Bills. And I think that the Bengals will beat the Bills. And we'll have a Kansas City-Cincinnati conference championship. And that's the only thing, in my opinion, that can knock the Kansas City train off the tracks is the Bengals. The Bengals, to me, are the only team that can beat Kansas City. And I don't think they will. I think Kansas City will get it done when it comes down to it, but they could. The Bengals could get the best of them. They kind of have their number, but I do think it'll end up being – I think Kansas City has a tough conference championship game against Cincinnati, and then we have a Kansas City-San Francisco Super Bowl, and I think Kansas City is just a little too much experience, too good. Here's what makes Kansas City so dangerous to me. Obviously, we know what that offense can do with Patrick Mahomes. Like, he's akin to Tom Brady back in the day. That offensive line in Kansas City is phenomenal. Patrick Mahomes is probably the best quarterback in football right now. And, well, other than maybe Tom Brady. Tom Brady has not looked great this year because of his offensive line issues and his team situation. Make no mistake, Tom Brady is still the dude, man. He's still that guy. If you put him in the Kansas City situation, he would be the guy. But Patrick is maybe the best. That offense is great. But what is surprisingly good, it gets no credit at all. Kansas City's defense is basically as good as Philadelphia's defense, maybe even better. Like, Kansas City's defense and Philadelphia's defense are both the same. Dominant in stretches. And then every once in a while they leak a hole in them somewhere. So I think that's enough. When you get that offense with a defense that's dominant in stretches, that's something Kansas City hasn't had in the past, is a defense that's good. And they've got a defense that's pretty solid most of the time and dominant at stretches. So I just don't see any way Kansas City loses. I think they'll get it done. Cincinnati scares me, though, because you know how it is in sports, man. There's just teams that have the other team's number. And Cincinnati, for whatever reason, Burrow and the Bengals have got old Patty Daddy and the Chiefs' number. And she cannot stand Patrick Mahomes. She is a hater. She's been sipping on some haterade. Why don't you like Patrick Mahomes, babe?
I don't know. I think he is extremely smart.
So when you say I don't know, like, that just, if you don't have a reason to hate him, but you do, like, that just makes you a hater. You realize that?
I'm a hater.
She's a hater.
I'm a hater.
You heard it here, folks. She's just a hater.
I think he is smart with his money.
Good businessman.
Great businessman, actually.
Yeah.
For him to be his age.
Been doing phenomenal.
Great. However, just ain't it.
You just don't like him.
I think he's very overrated.
Admit it. The reason you don't like Patrick Mahomes is because his wife annoys you.
I don't have to admit that. She annoys everybody.
That's the only reason she don't like him, because she don't like his wife.
I think I don't. That's not true. He's overrated.
How's he overrated?
He just is.
Do you realize not even Tom Brady did what he did at this point in his career? Super Bowls, yes, but like statistically passing, Tom Brady was winning Super Bowls when he was young with a team that ran the ball most of the time.
Why don't you just go be with him?
I mean, if he's accepted, like, there's an invitation extended, I'm on my way. I'm huge. I think Patrick Mahomes is phenomenal.
Okay.
I got to tell you guys a pretty cool Patrick Mahomes story. So,
Lord.
in football, or in any sport really, but in football, which is, I just know more about football, but man, there's so many guys that are like the guy that never get to break through. And right now, Patrick Mahomes is, MVP, NFL, big dog, going to be the first billionaire in football with his other business ventures and all that stuff. Unbelievable what he's accomplished, right? Nobody realizes that dude was one little thing going different away from nobody probably ever hearing about who he is as a football player. So when he was in high school, right down the road from here in White House, Texas, he was not a super highly recruited guy. He was known. He was a big kid with a big arm, but he was kind of awkward, and his throwing motion was funny, and he was kind of a little bit almost uncoordinated looking on the football field, and he just wasn't the biggest recruit even in our area, let alone the state of Texas or the nation. So a guy that I happen to be friends with here in Bend, okay, Bear. Bear is sick of this Patrick Mahomes talk.
Come here.
That was our other dog, our big Great Pyrenees. Look at it. Look at it. Look at this cat. He's laying there sleeping and just like yakking on a bone or something. They're best friends. See how they sleep together? Skeeter's just chilling. Skeeter, I wish you'd calm down and relax a little bit.
Come here.
So anyway, to tell my Patrick Mahomes story. So, buddy of mine that lives here in Van used to coach on the Texas A&M coaching staff. He was offensive line coach, and he's from this area originally. And so he would kind of scout this area for recruits for the A&M staff or someone back then. Well, Cliff Kingsbury was the offensive coordinator on that staff. That was during the Johnny Manziel era is what everybody remembers it for.
Oh, yeah.
So, this buddy of mine, he sees some tape on Patrick Mahomes or whatever. He takes it to Cliff, and he's like, because Cliff's the quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, he's like, Cliff, you might want to take a look at this guy from White House, Texas, named Patrick Mahomes. Big kid, huge arm, a lot of talent, kind of raw, but you might want to take a look at him. So Cliff looks at the tape, and he's like, man, I like him. I really like him a lot. But, we've got this other kid committed to play quarterback named Kyle Allen. And Kyle Allen was the number one quarterback recruit in the country. He was number one rated quarterback in the country coming out of that year's class in high school. And so, Cliff's like, I think we're going to stick with Kyle. Kyle's our guy. He's committed to us. He's number one rated guy. We're going to roll that way. Go forward a little bit. Johnny Manziel wins the Heisman that year. They're all flying to New York for the Heisman presentation. They get off the plane, and Cliff's phone blows up when they get off the plane. He goes, takes phone or answers phone call, or calls somebody back or whatever. Comes back over to the coaches, and he's like, "Hey man, I got to get on a plane and go back to Texas. They want to interview me in Lubbock for the job at Tech." Goes back. My buddy does the Heisman deal. Comes back to Bryan, Texas, there at A&M. Opens up the Bryan Gazette or whatever the paper is down there. And on the front page of the sports section, it says Texas Tech signs new head coach Cliff Kingsbury. His first order of business is to sign Patrick Mahomes. Now, Cliff Kingsbury, everybody knows now, great quarterback coach, great quarterback developer, great offensive mind. I mean, he's been, was the youngest head coach. He just got fired from Arizona, unfortunately. Had some bad breaks there. But everybody would pretty much.
Did he actually get fired?
Yeah, he did. Everybody would agree. Don't feel too bad for Cliff getting fired, folks. They've got to pay him $5.7 million for the next 5 years.
I didn't know he got fired.
So even though he's fired, he's getting paid $5 million a year to not coach them. So he did get fired. But anyway, everybody would agree Cliff's a great quarterback coach and a great offensive mind and a great developer of young quarterbacks. If Cliff Kingsbury doesn't get hired at Texas Tech, Patrick Mahomes doesn't go to Texas Tech and doesn't play for Cliff. And if he doesn't do that, Patrick Mahomes maybe never gets drafted at all, let alone gets drafted by Andy Reid, another one of the best offensive mind quarterback developers in football. I mean, Patrick has had everything go his way situationally. Now, not taking anything away from Pat because he's capitalized on every opportunity he's been given. No doubt about it. Kid's got to have great work ethic, great morals, great character, all that stuff to do what he's done. There's no doubt about that. But he was one Cliff Kingsbury Texas Tech hire away from maybe us never hearing of Patrick Mahomes as a football player. It's pretty crazy, huh? That close. And that's the way football goes. You end up in the right situation, you can be the best in the world. You end up in the wrong situation. Like, here's what I always tell everybody. If Patrick Mahomes got drafted even after he went to Tech, if he gets drafted by the Cleveland Browns, who is he? Another early round bust, like every other quarterback that's gone to Cleveland. Guys, all those quarterbacks that went to Cleveland aren't all bad. They all went to a bad situation. And we consider all of them early round bust, but a lot of those guys had a lot of talent, man, and they went to the wrong situation. And that's all it is to it. So Pat's amazing. He's done great things, but things have definitely had to fall his way to get to that level. I guess if you're going to be the best, that's what it's got to be. You've got to be talented. You've got to have a work ethic that's in the top less than 1%, and good character and all that stuff. And you've got to get the right breaks, and that's what's happened there. So anyway, hopefully that entertained y'all. It's one of my favorite football stories. I like that one.
Someone said they had a question for me.
You have a question? Okay.
It was a little bit earlier.
Roblox said he was my trainer in high school. Well, you got to tell me your real name to figure that out. It's probably Parker. Parker gets on there once in a while. Got a question for Princess. Oh, I want to do that. Can't see the rest of your question. You got a question for Princess Perm or
We're talking about, like,
mullets? I
I
don't
was
know.
going to say big perm or your hair. If we're talking about hair, I prefer his hair long.
You prefer my hair long?
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to get a perm in my? You want me to grow a mullet and get a perm in it?
I don't think you should get a perm, no.
Hey, I could be big perm fishing big perm in the summer. I'm just saying. How about that?
No.
That story almost writes itself right there.
No.
That's like a permanent thumbnail. I'll be like a walking thumbnail if I have a big perm and I'm fishing big perm.
All right.
Talk about your clickbait. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You are burning me up. Get this stinking blanket and this heat conductor of a body of yours away from me. Why are you so hot? All right, on that note, man, hey, we appreciate you guys joining us. Hope y'all have fun with us tonight. The ball game's back on. We're going to turn this off and enjoy the rest of the ball game. And I'm going to get some stuff ready to go fishing tomorrow. And, yeah, we'll be making content every day this week. 300 Days of Your Lake Fork Guide coming at you. Going strong. We'll be live on Tuesday night on Facebook. I'm hoping we'll be live back here on Thursday night to give you guys an update. Did those fish push shallow like we're talking about? Did we catch them in the backs of pockets? What adjustments did we make? After fishing the next 3 days, 4 days, whatever, on Thursday evening, I'll give you guys the updates on all that and talk about the best baits to go into the weekend. And like I said, we'll have content. We've got an instructional video. We got a day on the water video and all that stuff coming at you in between now and then. So, thank y'all so much as always. Almost out of ice. Cheers, y'all. We'll see you next time. Right here.
On your Lake Fork guy.
Don't make me do two thumbs at you next time. Go on the first one.
Well, don't make me do it at all.